Downunder 135. So this Inside the Mine is going to be about that. Obviously this is from 2023, but just want to go through that race and just, the end of a chapter, so to speak, as that was the last official Downunder race. And yeah, this time I didn't get one of these. It was just an absolute mammoth challenge. It's so hard to put into words about how hard the actual race is. I think only you can tell people talk about it, people can get like a little bit of a, picture in their head on what it's like, but unless you've been out there and experienced it, it's really, it never really does it justice to how brutal and how magical it is as well. The race is next level. Definitely, I reckon it'd have to be one of the hardest races in the world. It's definitely the hardest in Australia. I can't even think of any other races that I've kind of heard about. There is a few other, don't get me wrong, big races, 200-mile races and things like that, but I haven't really heard of ones that are that off track and, that thick and different terrain, apart from the Barclay. Like basically if you took away the pink ribbons, through your compass and you had to map it and things like that, it basically would be the Barclay. It's just, the terrain is just, it's so diverse. Like there's like rock hopping, there's, massive cliffs on side of edges. Sometimes you're scouring along the top of rock ridges, you're going down slippery downhill, downhill terrain that you slip and can smash yourself. There's sinkholes, there's, roots, rocks, obviously the same as normal trail kind of stuff that you got to watch out for, but there's just that many different variety of the trees and the plants so that around you. Reminds me of like the Jurassic Park terrain, just literally isolated, and they purposely go off course so much so that there's nothing to follow. There's no, you got to follow the pink ribbons, but there's no actual set in trail for majority of the race really. And it's just there's big tall spiky fern bush things with like little needle things out. There's moss on the rocks. There wasn't as much water in the river this year, but it did come in wet towards the end. So there's slippery mud. There's what else is there? Like the amount of trees and different kind of things you got to jump over and duck is just next level as well. It's hard to get around it, so you got to duck under. Your camelback gets caught on, a lot of the sticks and, branches. It's, they duck through small areas that you got to, for me being tall, your camelback, like I said, gets hooked on it. Like there's just so many elements that slow you up to make the challenge of a 55-hour cutoff, with the 220 kilometer course, anywhere from 13 to 16,000 meters elevation. It's just relentless. Like when you go up, you go down, and then when you go down, you're going back up. At some point and it actually it happened to me the first year I attempted it too. Like this year, I just absolutely destroyed my quads. So within the first 20-30K, I was already butchered, and then it was just survival mode. And then I got to the point where your quads had just got that much, like you just completely cooked them, that I couldn't even run, even when it was like on the flats, downhills. I tried to get up a little trick trot going multiple times. I just couldn't do it towards the end. Just had to walk, and I walked for like 5-6 hours, and then finally got to the checkpoint after just a never-ending walk, just on your own in the darkness, and you just like, I just couldn't see myself walking for another 20 hours just to get to half, or 15 hours or something, or whatever it was going to take me just to get to halfway. And I knew I was never going to make the time this year. My body just didn't have it in me. So it just took my soul this year. The Lerderg National Park, that forest just ate me up. I wasn't prepared physically with the elevation in the legs, so that cost me. I just didn't have enough elevation training close to this, as I had the Sydney Backyard Ultra, so I was only kind of half recovered from that. I probably could have got away with it if it was just a flat long distance course where I didn't have to have the elevation, because I knew I had the the 500 Ks in my legs from Sydney, so I probably could have used that conditioning if it was an easier course. But with the elevation, it just, yeah, I underestimated it. I had a feeling, you know, deep down inside, but I didn't really say too much. I thought, you know, maybe I would be able to pull it off, but it was just another eye opener and a you know, just to really cement in my mind that, you know, that kind of challenge needed the respect of just an absolute beast of a prep, you know, training specifically with the elevation for what you're about to face. And, you know, my brother Grant, you know, that's what he did, and he just smashed it. Like, and even he had to suffer like no tomorrow. Like, it's just like you know, it doesn't matter even if you work, you know, a lot of the athletes out there still trained for it a lot more with elevation and that, and most only 4 finishes, most didn't make it anyway. It still chews you up. And so that's one thing that course definitely demanded, the respect of needing some serious elevation training and focus towards that, as it's just like no other. It's not something you can just walk in and have a go and think you're going to finish it, which, you know, and that doesn't matter too. Like I said, you do the challenges. It's not about the finish, not about the, you know, the win, the trophy, but if you want to succeed in it, and, you know, that kind of a challenge and how big, you know, it actually was, you really need to, you know, put in, you know, a special effort towards it. But yeah, you know, there's so many elements to the course as well, like, you know, with the rivers, the rocks, you're going through the dry rock bed, you know, the climbing up the, you know, certain bits of the cliff face, you know, the downhill sections, like I was going on about. Like, it's there's that much different variety of terrain. It's hard to just go through and explain everything. There's just that much different kind of nature out there that it's just so unique. You know, the scenery as well at points, just looking across the valley is magical. All the Downunder people, you know, if you guys end up watching this, just want to say a big thank you. Every one of you guys out there, you know, are just awesome, and just, you know, make the reason why I like ultra running, the community, you got the like-minded values. And I've talked to all of you out there, Tom and Dale and Warren, and, you know, all you guys know what I stand for, and you all have those similar values, and that's what I love about it. Like, you know, it's not about the wins, the ego. It's the opposite, just about testing your own limits. And you guys created a course that was just next level, and, you know, it's something I would dream like that. If I was going to create a race and a course or something, that's the kind of stuff I'd like to do. You know, that's the races that, you know, really test people and challenge. And yeah, also as well, the kindness and support you show us athletes, you know, the checkpoints, all the volunteers, you know what needs, like with the food wise, you know, a good checkpoint with good food is what helps an athlete go further. That's one thing that always has baffled me at all the ultra running events I've done over the years. I still can't, even to this day, get my head around how you can put on an event and, you know, you got all these checkpoints at certain distances, and you go in there and you've just got a couple of lollies and a few chips, and sometimes not even cold drinks. It is baffling to me, because, you know, you want these athletes to succeed, and you've just got this cheap ass variety of checkpoint food. Like, I get it costs money, but, you know, that's what makes it an event and what makes people come back. And you guys did that. You know, you'd be making sure whatever people wanted, toasties, soup. You know, I had people, you know, one of the volunteers at the checkpoint was cooking me out pasta, you know, after I'd even finished the race, like made special dishes for me because he knows I'm plant-based, and just things like that. Just most races I've been to, they don't, you know, there's very few varieties. They would just have their, you know, their meals or select noodle cups, and that's it, and don't make any special, you know, special meals for people that don't eat certain stuff, and you guys do that. So to me, that's always etched in my mind, that I'll remember that. So yeah, thank you to all you guys who are part of that with the volunteers and the food. Something special that I remember. All the athletes in it, they're all just beasts. You know, you got to be unique, and you know, everyone I talk to about the race, you got to actually be, you know, a hard, solid athlete, like, and you got to be, you know, mentally tough, you know, to get through the challenge, or even just to attempt it. You know, each and every one of you guys that met, you know, previous entrants, and even the race I didn't do that I've heard of, all you guys are just, you know, machines. It takes, you know, some solid dedication and, you know, mental toughness to race that event. So yeah, all you guys, you know, a lot of special people I've made good friends with over the years. You know, my Tim, you know, when I did that, me and him finished and we come in second the other in 2023 when I got this. Like, that was just an epic part of the, you know, the journey that I loved. You know, I got to know him on another level, and, you know, friends that you will remember for life. When, you know, now when I see him at any events, it's just, you know, it's just something special, because, you know, you shared that time out there and one of the brutalist challenges that you faced. So yeah, you meet so many cool people in that respect. Yeah, I've just got at the moment, I got home yesterday afternoon from just a hell of a mission. You know, got to see and witness, like I said, Grant. He finished the race and just conquered it. We had a major issue that, you know, that ended up coming in straight at the finish line. We were there for like 10 minutes and then had to rush off to hospital for a family member I won't go into because it could, you know, it's a bit private, but basically, yeah, something to do with Grant's side, and, you know, with his crew that was helping us throughout the race. So it was just, yeah, it was quite devastating, and we had to go rush off there and attend to that. So the journey, you know, Grant hadn't slept for 55 hours, was wide, so many aspects like that, and, you know, the champion just kept digging deep, and that's what it's about. Like, it was never about just getting the win. It's about being a champion in life, and I've seen that happen with Grant. I've seen that happen with so many other athletes, where it's more than just, you know, doing ultra races for the glory. It's about being a better person and striving to be the best version of you. And, you know, that's as well what I get out of these races in the end. Even like, you know, I fell way short of my goal this year, and it was a hard pill to swallow. It broke me down when that took my soul. I didn't know how to go about it. My mind was strong, but my body was just broken. So, you know, whenever I talk about before, when people are saying, oh, you just need a strong mind to run backyards, all that, it's rubbish. The body needs to be so strong, otherwise it just breaks down. You know, I had a strong mind out there, but the body was broken. And you can't walk and finish a foot race like that in 55 hours, how brutal it is. So, you know, you need that strong physical body just to get through these challenges. And, like, yeah, there's just so many elements to that. Like, you know, at first I was like, you know, obviously disappointed, had a bit of a rest, and then, you know, lie down in this cold tent that, but it got a bit of a lie down to get sleep, but a couple of hours shut off at least. And then I just snapped, you know, like I did with James. I snapped and decided to, you know, it's time to help, you know, one of my good mates. And that's like I did with James. Like, I was just kind of drifted off from, but saying in Tennessee that time when my mission didn't go too well, I went and helped him achieve his goals. So the same thing happened this time. Mine journey didn't work out too well, but I had to redirect, and then I helped my friend achieve his goals. So something that's special for me, besides the crazy stuff that happened at the end. But yeah, that's what it's about. I think, you know, just adapting when things don't go to plan, finding a way through them, and that's what these races help you do. They help you become mentally stronger all round. They help you, you know, get through the challenges of life. So that's pretty much one of the bigger reasons why I do ultras anyway. Yeah, like, what else should I really talk about to do with the race? I guess I'll go into a little bit on, you know, the finish of the race with these guys. Like, you know, when I stopped in the night time, you know, come in wet, so like it was on and off for the rest of the time, really. So it's already so slippery, deadly. You know, you're already smashing all over the shop from falling on your bum. Like, there's just that many elements to how hard the course is. And these guys had to keep charging back through in the rain. And then, like, there was, you know, a section, like they call it Old River. It goes for like 11 Ks through this, and you can't run hardly any of it. It's just all big rocks and boulders and fallen trees and crazy landscape in there. So you're just power trekking through that, and that just gets black ice, slippery moss stuff all over rocks. So with the rain, it just would have been crazy. And those athletes that got through that just shows you, like, how mentally tough they are too. But that's, you know, not even that. Like, everyone out there is mentally tough. It's just whether, you know, you can get through it in time, whether it breaks you, whether it's, you know, just whatever aspect. Like, you know, I said, my legs got broken. Other people had lots of other issues. I've seen people come in with claret all over their elbows. People get split open. Just, yeah, it's just an absolute beast of a course, and will challenge you in every aspect. So, but it's also something that I'll miss. That's what I just want to quickly finish with, I guess, and say that it's kind of, yesterday when I got home, it was a bit emotional, actually. I had, I think the whole emotion of just the experience is physically and mentally draining. I just end up breaking down, to be honest. I'll share that with you, just out of nowhere. Just looked at a few photos with Grant, and just, the emotions knowing of what I went through. It was so hard, and it also just basically, what do you, it's sad to see it go, to be honest. Like, to know that that was the final chapter of Down Under. But I'll cherish the memories. I'll maybe there'll be another challenge. Maybe they'll do one day. Who knows? Or maybe there'll be another race that's created like that. I still want to get to the Barkley one day. Yeah, but it's just something not many other races provide. People can try and mimic it. I could create an event and do the same kind of thing, but it's just, that's something that's a pioneer of a race. That's a true race that will be remembered forever. And I know that every single person that went in that race and has been a part of it says the same thing. I haven't spoke to one person, and they're all elites, that have said, "Oh no, this race is harder." They all know that Down Under was at the top. I'll stand by it and easily say, I've done all the races in Australia. I know I haven't done all of them, but I've never heard of anyone that's harder than that. I've never seen anything written of a race that's harder than that. So if you ask me, that's the hardest race in Australia, and possibly one of the in the world, like I said. And yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to just let you know, and just my feelings on it, how I feel about it. I know I didn't go fully into like what I went through out there, and it's hard to explain the course in every aspect. I had some videos on my Instagram so people got to see it, but yeah, for me, like I said, it got me this time. The forest won, so to speak. I always said the first time when I did finish it, and even the second time when I finished it, but the first time when I didn't finish it, I always said it was just against that forest. And the second time I went back, I was hungry for it. I was like, I'm gonna chew this forest up this time. This is and I won it. And it's not saying just because I said that, but I had that mentality. And this time, like, I still had the mentality of wanting to finish it, but this time, straight off the bat, it's like it rose to the occasion, and how hard it was. It just chewed me straight up, and it was like, what, this time I'm going to eat you. And it pretty much did. So yeah, it's not really much. I can go into different mindset and how I felt out there, but I just felt broken. So for me, it was just time to just accept it, and take what I've learned from it and move forward into the future challenges. And like I said, everything happens for a reason too. That's what I'll finish with. So instead of thinking, "Oh, poor me, I didn't finish it," like, I started looking at the blessings and how my mind works. Is that I started realizing that, hang on, you've now got the opportunity to help one of your best mates achieve their goals. Like, he already had a crew, don't get me wrong, but you can be a part of it now and do whatever you can, whether even if it's just filling up a water bottle, giving him a toasty. I'm now helping him achieve his greatness. So that's something that's so special. You look at the positive of that. And then, like, for instance, because I'd pulled up early, I wasn't as butchered as him. So when we had this incident, I had to go to hospital, rush off there. So I drove his van there. I wouldn't have been able to do that, because if I was cooked from the race, I couldn't drive. I would have been smashed, and then obviously someone else would have stepped up and they would have done it. But who else would you want doing it? I want to do it because he's my good mate. I want to be there by him while he goes through the struggle. So that's the way I look. That happened for a reason. I've been able to help. So I was redirected by the universe for the way I was meant to be. So instead of so that's what I'm trying to get at and finish with, like, as in, when you think you've been dealt a hard hand and poor me, why me? Like, yeah, okay, situations can suck and they can be like, it's not a good feeling inside your body, but you got to sit back and look and see, what is it showing you? You know what I mean? Like, there's always a lesson in there and a reason for it, and you'll find the good in there if you look for it. Don't look for the negative of it. Look for, what is it teaching you? What lessons is it showing you? And you usually find there's something in you, and you go, oh, actually, that's why that happened. And there's a more of a positive thing in there, something that you can take from it. So That's the way I look at it, and I just keep becoming unstoppable. I might not have finished, but I'm so much stronger. So like it's just mentally and physically, as it just keeps rising you to the next level, and that's why I do all these challenges and get and face the next one. I get dead cow gully in 4 weeks. Bring it. You know, I'm ready to take on whatever it throws at me. Will I get to where I want to know? Who knows? But I know that I go in there and I'll just attack it and just do the best I can do. So that's all you can do. And then from that point, you just keep learning, getting stronger. And like I said, if you want the exact number and, you know, whatever the winner trophy, sometimes you got to do specific training for those events, whatnot. But my legacy is different. I'm here to just leave behind something that, you know, for my family and friends that will be remembered, as in, you know, push your limits, chase your goals. Like, I don't care about whether you fall. It's about getting back up and attacking again. So anyway, that's just it for now. I could just keep going on and on. You probably had enough of listening to me. But yeah, that's basically a little bit of the take on the Down Under mission and, you know, another aspect of Inside the Mind. So thanks.